Okay, right on. And I know I started the video accidentally there before, and I found out pretty quick that I must have set it down in varnish yesterday when I was doing something because the camera lens was all covered. But anyway, I was walking past this compost pile today and I realized I started a video like 10 days ago where I showed you that I built this pile, and this is all stuff out of the milk parlor. So while we're milking and the cow's manure, we collect it. And I've been putting it here. And this is also some bedding that I collected up, some, around a bale ring, and there's some junk hay and stuff. So I made this pile, and it was cold for sure. Nothing was happening with it. And right here, we have a tank, a 300-gallon tank, and we drain all the water from the milk house. So it's wash water, it has Dawn dish soap in it. That's about all I use. And all the water out of the butcher shop drains into that tank. And when I first started doing that, my idea was, okay, I'm going to save this water, and then I'm going to put it in another tank, and I'm going to take it out to the field and apply it, land apply it, they call. And I thought, it's got a lot of good bacteria in it, and whoa, that should be great. Well, it turns out I didn't see a real big boost from it. I didn't see anything. The way I applied it, you would have been able to see strips of it. And I never did see anything. Now, we'll see. Like this year, all of a sudden it may show itself. But last year it didn't, and I started it the year before, right? So it didn't show anything. So I thought, well, I still need to use this water that's in here. It's got blood and manure and milk and, floors drained down into it. So I still need to use that water or dispose of it. And so then I thought, well, I don't use this area right here for much. Sometimes I grow stuff in here. I'll grow pumpkins and stuff just to cover the ground. But it's right near the butcher shop, and we generate a lot of wet feathers. And the best thing that I've found to do with the feathers is to put them in the compost pile. Animals don't eat them. There's really nothing you can do with them. When they dry out, they blow around and make a mess. So we put them in the compost pile, and that usually does it. Now, the compost pile that I was using to do this it's probably about 100 yards away. And it's just because I started composting up there, and so I was hauling the feathers all the way up there. And, it's far away, and so I don't see it, and I don't really monitor it that much. And I thought, if I put a compost pile right here, we can actually put the feathers in there by hand if we needed to, if we wanted to. So we could save tractor time. So anyway, I built that, and then what I did is I drained this tank via like a sump pump into it. And it was stanky. That was the name of the video that I made. Stanky. Something smells stanky. Oh, it was stanky. It was from about February until about 10 days ago when I did it. And I just let it sit, kind of forgot about it. And then Friday, when I needed to put feathers in there, I broke it open, and sure enough, out comes the steam. So I thought, I got to get back in there and show everybody what happened with it. My thinking on this is why I'm passing it along, because it's a cost-saving, time-saving thing, and that's what you need to do in the homesteading business or the farming business. Instead of having one central location where I compost, I'm going to have several of them, because that's where the material is generated. So why transport it a long way to make a compost pile that I would have to put in a truck, let's say, and take someplace else and spread? So my thought is, when this compost pile is ready to be spread, I'll just pull the spreader up alongside of it. The spreader right now is sitting over there waiting for a new deck. and then load it, and then take it out and spread it, come back, load it, and so forth. And I can do this here, where we generate a lot of material that needs to be compost. I can do this down with the steers, where I generate a lot. I can do it out here with the milk cows in their dry lot, where they generate quite a bit. But what I wanted to show you today was after 10 days or so, I'm not exactly sure, I didn't go back and check, doesn't really matter. I want to show you what has happened here. So I have a thermometer, and I want to show you this because I stuck it in this morning. I walked past it, and you can smell it. It smells pretty good. It smells pretty decent. You're gonna watch this, and you're gonna be really amazed at how much heat is generated here. Look at that dial. You see that dial going? So it's 60 out right now. And this is just 6 inches in. You know, this is at the top. I didn't dig into this at all, but what I'll do when this hits its peak, which I already did it once just to see, it went all the way to 130. And that's only 6 inches in. They were at 120 and it's still climbing. All right, so take my word for it. I don't want to bore you with that, but I thought what I would do is go over and jump on the loader and bring it over and show you. Well, I think I'm going to jump on the loader until somebody pulls in the driveway. Okay. All right. Because this is, to me, this is impressive. Just parting it. Wonder if you can see that steam coming out. I'll get in for a closer look. Steaming pretty good. So again, what that is that's the natural bacterial action happening, and the bacteria originates, you know, it's in the environment, but it really originates in high concentration in the guts of the animals. So I'm standing right here, and it's got a smell to it. It's not a smell that you'd want to dab a little behind each ear, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So what I'll do right now, you won't be able to see this because I can't do it and hold this camera, but I'm gonna pick that up. I'm gonna pick it up a little bit at a time and then dump it out. Pick it up and dump it out. And what that does is aerate it. And it just makes it go even better. Let's see. Okay, I've got my thermometer that I took off. And we'll get it in the heat of the pile. In the central part of the... Oh, she's cranking now. There's 140. is 150. 152. That's one hot pile. Okay, about 154. Looks like it's stabilizing right there. Ooh, no, it's moving. So, one time, I'll tell you a little story. I built a tank that I could surround with compost like this. And I may do it again because I never really quite finished that project, or never really wrung it out. But it was a 275 gallon tank, and I surrounded it with this compost, and then I could pull up to it and I could pick it up and then dump it. And I could keep the pile nice and hot. And in the tank, I filled it with water. And then I had an inlet at the bottom and an outlet at the top, so the warmer water would be at the top. And when we pressurized the bottom, I'd get hot water coming out the top. And I ran it into a water trough that was big enough for me and Joel to get in, a 300 gallon water trough. And we went to get in it, and it was wintertime, or just a little after Thanksgiving, and it was too hot for us to get in. And I temped it, you know, with my hand. It felt like a jacuzzi, but when I temped it, it was 140 degrees. And we could not get in it. It was too hot. So I had to run water into it. If we're going to do this jacuzzi thing, we got to do it. So I ran water into it, and we were able to get in it. And that's as far as it went. The tank that I was using had something in it that didn't smell good. I never did know what it was. It was a tank someone gave me. But I have tanks now that I know what was in them, and it's safe to do it. So I may do that again, and I may even do it right here, because it would be an interesting experiment, you know, to see if you could pull 160 degree water off of this continually. That's a lot of BTUs. And what could you do with it? Who knows? A lot of things, but okay. Get out there and make it happen. Anyone can farm.